Hello, this is News on Zodiac. I am Tway Santakula. The headlines. Water levels have subsidized, but a deadly trail looms as cholera hits Nsanje with fears of another outbreak in Mangochi. All bank account holders can now access cash on any auto teller machine thanks to the National Switch Center. Tension characterized extraordinary meeting in Lilongwe City Council as councillors complain of being sidelined in development activities. Elsewhere, female suicide bomber kills 7 people at a bus station in Nigeria. And in sports, Bullets FC return home Wednesday from Comoros Islands after a win in their CAF Champions League assignment. Stay tuned for details. Not forgetting sports in a moment. A cholera outbreak has been reported in the Lower Shire district of Nsanje, further compounding fears of more devastation brought by the floods. So far, cholera has claimed 1 life and at least 16 cases have been reported on the flood-hit district. Our reporter in Nsanje, Alfred Gouda, says health authorities have declared a cholera outbreak in the district. More in this report.
According to the Nsanje District Health Office Public Relations Officer, Mr. Felix Simbi, the cholera outbreak was declared on February 10, 2015. Mr. Simbi said the areas affected include the area of Chief Ndamera in the district. He said so far 16 cases have been recorded with 1 death. The Nsanje District Health Office publicist feared for the lives of thousands of flood victims that are seeking shelter in various camps in the district, saying they are at a high risk of the disease. Mr. Felix Simbi was however quick to say the District Health Office has intensified health education in the areas of hygiene and sanitation to control the disease from spreading further. Mr. Simbi further challenged people in the district to present themselves to their nearest health facilities should they see signs of diarrhea diseases so they are treated. Ironically, records at Nsanje District Health Office indicate that the district has had no cholera cases for the past 2 years. For Zodiak in Nsanje, this is Alfred Gouda reporting.
Still on cholera, health authorities in Mangochi have advised people not to panic of an outbreak that has been reported in some villages in Mozambique that are within the borders of that country and Malawi. Our reporter in Mangochi, Rafael Mlozoa, says some people are feared dead from suspected cholera in a village near Mozambique, near Fort Maguire in Makanjira. To get an insight on the magnitude of the outbreak, Daniel Mawawa caught up with Health Ministry spokesperson Henry Chimbali. All bank account holders in the country can now access their cash on any auto teller machine irrespective of their banks. Managers of the National Switch Center, which is connecting all bank systems, have announcing the switching on chairperson of the project, Mr. Mishek Esau, said this is a new innovation aimed at promoting banking systems in the country. A total of 2.5 billion kwacha has been injected into the project, which started some 5 years ago. Chris Kombe has the details.
In 2010, the Council of the Bankers Association of Malawi, in collaboration with the Reserve Bank of Malawi, initiated the National Switch project, which connects bank systems to offer interoperability of card-based payments in Malawi. The following year, government received a loan from the World Bank to fund the implementation of the project, and members of the steering committee were drawn from all the banks. NAD Switch project chairperson Mr. Mishek Esau announced on Monday in Blantyre that the NAD Switch is now live, saying all holders of bank accounts with ATM cards can access their cash and other transactions at any auto teller machine, irrespective of their banks.
If you are in Nchinji, your bank is not there, but there's at least one bank with an ATM, you will be able to go and cash your money from that ATM. Point of sale devices. These are devices that are used in shops to buy, ShopRite, Game, and all sorts of shops. Currently, you will find some shops even have 2 point of sale devices because the point of sale devices were not interoperable. But because of the national switch, we now have a situation where one shop only needs one bank to have its point of sale devices in there. And when that is done, it means all bank customers can now shop using their debit card or credit card because one bank has a point of sale device in a shop.
Through the NAT switch, customers will be charged 80 kwacha for balance inquiry and 150 kwacha for cash transaction at any ATM of another bank, which Mr. Esau said has been reduced by 50%. Reserve Bank of Malawi Deputy Governor of Economics, Dr. Naomi Ngwila, while commending banks for the rare innovation in Africa, has challenged bank members to ensure that the service benefits ordinary Malawians.
We are now hoping we're entering into an age of more efficient national payment systems, meaning that it will cost less to transact payments. Because interoperability means that, first of all, banks don't have to invest heavily in individualized points of transactions like ATMs. But it also means that customers don't have to travel long distances to get their own bank's ATM. They can use any other. So both from the bank side and also from the customer side, there should be a reduction in cost to transact.
Grace Kombe, Zodiak, Blantyre.
We go back to the story that we just gave you on cholera. Health authorities in Mangochi have advised people not to panic over an outbreak that have been reported in some villages in Mozambique that are within the borders of that country and Malawi. Our reporter in Mangochi, Rafael Mlozoa, says people are feared dead from suspected cholera cases at a village in Mozambique near Fort Maguire in Makanjira. To get the insight on the magnitude of the outbreak, Daniel Mawawa caught up with Health Ministry spokesperson Henry Chimbali. We apologize for that report. The Northern Region Water Board has warned residents of Mzuzu City to brace for massive water shortages in the next 2 to 3 years. Board chairperson Professor Peter Manza attributed this as a result of a silting of the immense source of water, Lunyango Dam. He said in the 2 years, the board will seek to construct a new dam at the site, which has already been identified. The Malawi Savings and Credit Cooperatives, Moscow, has warned of a legal action against Capitol Hill in the last-ditch attempt to get government to settle a 200 million kwacha debt it owes the institution. Moscow Chief Executive Sylvester Kadzola says the money was deducted from civil servants but has not been remitted to Moscow. Meanwhile, Ministry of Finances, it has developed an electronic payment system to deal with the problem. George Kalunga reports.
According to Mr. Kadzola, most of the monies are deducted from teachers, the bulk of the civil service. He says while government has been trying to service the debt, delays to pay out the accumulative amount at once is a challenge. He warned that the Malawi Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, Moscow, may consider taking legal action against the government.
Maybe SACCOs haven't really reached that stage because you see, it's a little bit tricky because when you advise SACCOs that, okay, maybe there's an option of taking legal action. But you see, these are the very same people that are employed by the government. So there is that kind of conflict there that, okay, if we sue the employer for this, wouldn't this have maybe some repercussions at the end of the day? So SACCOs have been hesitating to take the route of taking legal action. But I don't think it needs to come to that stage. I mean, if the government really means its word that it is pro-cooperatives, it wants to see proliferation of cooperatives in this country, then one would have expected that these things will not be allowed to happen. But they are happening, and it's sad, and that maybe time will come now where SACCOs will have no option but to need to consider to take that route. But as you've said, in Kenya, that's it. Yeah, SACCOs, or actually even as an individual, if your deduction has been not going to SACCO, the law allows that individual to sue the SACCO, I mean the employer, for not remitting.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance says it has developed an electronic payment system to deal with delayed remittances of funds deducted from SACCO members.
What we have done now is to introduce an electronic funds transfer mechanism whereby a particular ministry will just say that out of employees that we have in our ministry, after making deductions, maybe 2 million is payable to Moody Sacco. So they will give the bank details plus the code of each particular employee. So we'll be making instructions to Reserve Bank to transfer that money to a particular bank for that respective Sacco. And as we speak, we only have a backlog of December and January 2015.
Speaking with Zodiak at a recent event in Lilongwe, Nebon Kuria, Chief Executive of the Cooperative Insurance Company of Kenya, advised Moscow to ensure that the law on remittance of funds is enforced as a way of dealing with the challenge, saying by doing so, the government of Kenya no longer defaults on remittances. For Zodiak in Lilongwe, this is George Kalungwe.
A reminder that you're watching News on Zodiac, coming to you live from our studios in Lilongwe. We still have more to come shortly after this break. Welcome back to Zodiac News. I am Twesa Takula, and as we continue, another look at our main news. Water levels half subsidized, but a deadly trail looms as cholera hits Nsanje with fears of another outbreak in Mangochi. All bank account holders can now access cash on any auto teller machine thanks to the National Switch Center. Tension characterized extraordinary meeting in Lilongwe City Council as councillors complain of being sidelined in development activities. Elsewhere, a female suicide bomber killed 7 people at a bus station in Nigeria. And in sports, Bullets FC returned home Wednesday from Comoros Islands after winning their CAF Champions League assignment. Tension flared during an extraordinary meeting in Lilongwe City Councillors who accused the council of sidelining them in developmental activities. The city fathers and council directors also differed on the administration of the local development fund. Charles Wahara reports.
The extraordinary council meeting held Monday revealed challenges of communication and coordination between the city fathers and city directors. There was concern that the Secretariat has not yet appreciated the role of councillors who were elected just last year following a 10-year absence of local representatives. The can of worms was opened when Director of Planning Hilary Kamela took the floor to present names of wards and number of beneficiaries in the Public Works program. The councillors wondered why there is a decrease in the money allocated for public works while the population of the city is increasing. The councillors objected the presentation, saying they were not consulted. Somehow, we don't understand them, but we know it has taken long for Lilongwe City Council to have councillors. As a result, the officials are used to doing things by themselves, hence denying councillors, the owners of the council, the right to execute their duties effectively. The issue about LDF happens every year, and we know how things work out. Even chiefs and their subjects are aware of all this. The Secretariat has not referred to us anything to do with LDF, nor consulted the councillors on a number of changes in LDF. They have not consulted or informed chairpersons of various committees in as far as development is concerned in the council. It's a big surprise to all of us. Hence, we are telling them to go into detail about the LDF. Member of Parliament for Lilongwe City Centre, David Biznoati, who was in attendance, expressed worry over the attitude of assembly directors because they are delaying the development of the city. He took the intervention of Lilongwe City Assembly Chief Executive Officer Richard Hara to clarify on some new local development fund projects to the councillors before adjourning the meeting. In an interview with Zodiac, Lilongwe City Assembly CEO Richard Hara said the whole mess has come in because of lack of proper communication and understanding.
What I can say is probably we are differing in understanding of the things, because at this stage what we did was to segregate the projects based on vulnerability assessments and also population figures. Each project has got unique features. For instance, we're talking about public works, which is targeting the poor. So we have got guidelines, and these guidelines are the ones that we use. And LDF came to give them the background information to this. Maybe they may have forgotten about the guidelines that were given to them. So as of now, what we have done is to look at the number of beneficiaries and then allocate them according to the wards that are qualifying for the job.
Lilongwe City Council has an allocation of 28,222,703 kwacha to run the project for 2014-2015 under the LDF. This is Charles Wahara reporting.
Civil society experts have bemoaned the late payments of teachers' salaries in the country, calling on Capitol Hill to urgently address the situation. Vice President of the National Advocacy Platform, Leon Matanda, described developments as unfortunate, wondering why this is so when the salaries are budgeted for by government. As we speak, newly recruited secondary school teachers have gone 5 months without pay. Philip Caetano da Costa reports.
According to Mr. Matanda, his organization is informed that teachers' salaries have delayed for the past 3 months due to challenges faced in processing the payment, as the Ministry of Education has the largest payroll among all government departments. A top Ministry of Education official also told ZBS that the delay of teachers' leave grants is due to low funding received by the Local Government Finance Committee, which manages the fund. While appreciating the explanation by the ministry, Mr. Matanda said the problems can be rectified through proper planning. In another development, Mr. Matanda warned government against allowing other government departments to overspend on their financial allocations. He cited the 106% expenditure by the Malawi police as a recipe for cash gate. He stressed the need for all government departments to exercise caution when handling finances in order to avoid another cash gate. Teachers in various parts of the country, especially Blantyre, Lilongwe, Salima and Mzimba, have gone on strike to demand payment of their 3-month salaries and leave grants for last year. For ZBS, this is Philip Caetano da Costa reporting.
Now to international news. A female suicide bomber has killed 7 people at a bus station in the Nigerian city of Damaturu, a target of previous attacks by Boko Haram. The attack has mounted fears that the militant group may be using some of its female hostages to carry out such attacks. We have this BBC report.
According to reports, the female suicide bomber arrived in a vehicle and walked into a crowd outside a grocery store at the end of the terminal, where she detonated her explosives. A shop owner said an angry mob stopped emergency workers from retrieving the remains of the bomber and instead set them on fire. Thousands of people have been killed and more than 3 million displaced by Boko Haram's insurgency. The Islamist militants, who are fighting to create an Islamic state in northeastern Nigeria, have become a regional threat. In response, Nigeria, Niger, Chad and Cameroon have agreed to form a regional military force to combat the group. Correspondents say the insurgency has also cast doubt on the leadership of President Goodluck Jonathan, who is accused of not having done enough to contain it.
Egypt says it has bombed Islamic State targets in Libya hours after the group published video showing the apparent beheadings of 21 Egyptian Christians. State TV said the dawn strikes had targeted camps, training sites and weapon storage areas. More in this report.
Airstrikes hit the port city of Derna, which has been held by militants. A video emerged on Sunday showing a group wearing orange overalls being forced to the ground and beheaded. IS militants claim to have carried out several attacks in Libya, which is in effect without a government. The kidnapped Egyptian workers, all Coptic Christians, were seized in December and January from the coastal town of Sirte in eastern Libya under the control of Islamist groups. The video of the beheadings was posted online by Libyan jihadists who pledged loyalty to IS. It was one of the first such videos to come from the IS group outside its core territory in Syria and Iraq.
In sports news, Big Bullets FC is expected back home this Wednesday from Comoros Islands after beating Fomboni FC by a goal to nil in CAF Champions League. Substitute Zbstv Kumwenda scored the only vital goal for Bullets. Our reporter Mike Bango accompanied the team, and he now reports.
Zbstv Kumwenda's 90-minute strike was his first international goal in his career. Kumwenda came in as a substitute after replacing Musa Manyenje in the second half. It was relief for Kumwenda, who wanted to score if given time to play. The win puts Bullets at a better position to go into the next round. Malawian striker Wister Piri believes pressure was on his side to deliver against his home team. Piri, who once played for Mighty Wanderers and Igwa Bigs, missed a couple of chances, and Piri could have scored more than 3 goals in the game. The Malawian striker claims he will improve in the second leg at Kamuzu Stadium. Bullets supporters chairperson Stone Mamadi says Malawian supporters will learn a lot from him after seeing what their counterparts are able to do when it comes to stadium and gate management. Mamadi told ZBS in Comoros Island that they will implement other measures on the return leg. Meanwhile, Big Bullets can start preparing for a trip to Sudan after Al Hilal Omdurman defeated Zanzibar's KMKM by 2-0 in Sudan. The People's team, who are confident of beating Fomboni FC in the second leg, says they are ready to face Al Hilal, according to Bullets coach Nswazirimo Ramadan. Comoros Island chapter is closed for Kondi Msungamanti's team in the first leg of the preliminary round of Champions League, with the return leg on 28 February 2015 back home at Kamuzu Stadium. It's time for Kondi to make a smile. For ZBS in Nairobi, Kenya, this is Mike Bango.
You have been watching news on Zodiac, but as we go, a recap of our main news. Water levels have subsidized, but a deadly trail looms as cholera hits Nsanje with fears of another outbreak in Mangochi. All bank account holders can now access cash on any auto teller machine thanks to the National Switch Center. Tension characterized extraordinary meeting of Lilongwe City Council as councillors complain of being sidelined in development activities. Elsewhere, female suicide bomber kills 7 people at a bus station in Nigeria. And in sports, Bullets FC return home Wednesday from Comoros Islands after a win in their CAF Champions League assignment. I have been Twesa Takula. Thanks for watching and good night.